All right, so the next step for us is to allow the user to fill out their information, or rather, once the user fills out the information here and they press the continue, we're going to redirect them to the next page or the payment page. And once they're redirected, the information they filled out here is going to be stored into the local storage and Redux store. And then to finish off, what we're going to do is that if the user is on the once they're in the payment page, and say they decide they want to go backwards to the shipping page because they want to change some information. So what we want to do is we want to have all these fields pre-filled with the data that they added before. Okay, so that is what we're going to take care of, and let's get started. All right, so as I mentioned, we're going to be using Redux. So we're going to start off with building out our constant. Let's go here. I'm going to collapse this. All right, so for the constant, we are going to create a file, and we're going to call this order constants. For our first constant, we're going to call this save shipping address. Go ahead and save that. All right, so now that we got the constant down, next step is to go to the build out our reducer. So here, I'm going to call this file order reducers.js. Or did I call this? Let me see. Yeah, okay. All right, so for the order reducers, what we're going to do is we're going to have to import our constant. We're going to say import save shipping address. VS Code automatically adds the path. Okay, and then next what we're going to do is we're going to set up our initial state. Provided data of shipping, save ship, we'll do shipping address, and this will be an empty object. Set up our reducer, order, no. Order reducer. No. And for the state, we're going to give it the initial state, and then we're going to give it the action. Make sure you export the reducer. All right, so here what we're going to do is we're going to start off our switch statement, and we're going to do a switch on the action type, and we're going to check if the case, or if the case is save shipping address, then we're going to return an object, and we're going to start off by spreading out whatever's currently in the state. I'm going to set the shipping address to be the action payload. And then we'll finish off here by setting up our default, which is just going to return the state. Okay, so that should take care of our reducer. So now that we have a reducer, like always, we're going to want to add that to the Redux store. Let's see, we got an error. Gotta add this. There we go. Add that little fat arrow there that I was missing. Okay, so let's go ahead and add that reducer to the Redux store. I'm gonna go ahead and just copy this here. And import our order reducers. And then we can go ahead and copy this, paste below, swap it out with the order reducer. All right, so that takes care of that. So now that we have that in the Redux store, let's go ahead and mark these off. So we created the reducer and we just now added the reducer to the store. So the next step is to create our action function. All right, so let's go ahead and collapse this folder here, go to the actions. I'm going to create a new file. I'm going to call this order actions.js. All right, so for this one, we're going to also import that constant, which is the save shipping address. I'm going to create a function here, create const. I'm going to call it save shipping address. It's going to take an input of the data, which will be an object. And then here we're going to call it async dispatch. Okay, so now here what we're going to want to do is we're going to call our dispatch. We're going to say dispatch. And then we're going to pass a type of our save shipping address constant, and then the payload that we're going to provide for it is going to be the data. Okay, and that's all we need for our action function. All right, so next step is to actually call this action function where it's needed, and that's going to be here in the shipping component. Okay, so let's go ahead and import that function. So we're going to do import, let's see, save shipping address. Okay, let's see, what else do we need? Okay, so we're going to need to dispatch that too. We're going to need dispatch. So what we're going to do here is we're going to do an import of use dispatch from the React Redux. And let's see, right above here at the very start, we're going to do a dispatch and call the use dispatch. All right, so we initialized the dispatch and stored it in variables so that way we can make use of it. And we are going to make use of that right over here in the handle submit, because this handle submit is what fires off when the user clicks continue. Okay, so from the previous video, we saw that we set up all the data here within an object. So it's adding all the form fields into this object here. So once this data is prepared for us, we're going to go ahead and dispatch our action function. So when they say dispatch, and then within here, fire off our action function, which was called save shipping address. Yeah, just like that. Okay, design, let's see, shipping data is, okay, yeah, almost forgot. We actually have to pass this data in. So we're going to do shipping shipping data. All right, so that's that. So we're firing off the dispatch on this action function and passing along the shipping data. All right, so what's the next step here? All right. So next step is to redirect to the payment component. Okay, so going back to the shipping component, once we fire off this action function, it'll take care of, actually, you know what? I think I missed, actually, you know what? I totally missed out on something here. For our action function, for save shipping address, this dispatch right here is taking care of, it deals with storing the data into our Redux store. However, remember I mentioned we also want to store the data into our local storage. Okay, so here, let me show you. Let me open my DevTools here. So if you look here in our DevTools, we have the two tabs. We have our Redux tab. Okay, so the first step we took care of. So essentially, we're going to want to store that the data into the Redux store, which we'll see here. Okay, but on top of that, here in this application, let me remove this here. This is old. Okay, so here currently we just have inside the local storage cart and user. So what we want to do is we want to be able to add the shipping address here into the local storage. Okay. And the way we're going to do that is we're going to call local storage set item. I'm going to call this shipping address. And then now we're going to call JSON.stringify of the data, and then pass the data there. Okay, so now this takes care of our storing the data in Redux, and this takes care of storing the data into local storage. All right, so going back, where we're at. Okay, so here we left off here. Okay, so we caught off this action function, and then finally we want to redirect the user, but we have to bring in our navigate from the React router. So we're going to do import navigate from React router DOM, and then right below this dispatch, actually we'll do it above it. We'll call this navigate and initialize our navigate. Okay, and then now we'll go ahead and call that function navigate to, we want to navigate to payment. Go ahead and save that. Okay, what's this error here? Navigate is defined, but never used line 5. Oh, there we go. All we need is use navigate. Go ahead and save that, and the error should go away. There we go. All right, there we go. So that takes care of that. Let's see. I think we can test this out. Yeah, let's go ahead and test this out. All right, so from the get-go, here, let me refresh this. All right, so here we see in the local storage, all we have is the cart and the user. Okay, that's all we have. So you see that we don't have the shipping address yet. Also in the Redux store, let me expand that. You see there's no shipping data at all over here. Okay, but that should change the moment that the user clicks continue and fills out their information. So let's go ahead and test this. 123 Main Street. We'll do 111 city. We'll do Boston, Massachusetts. No, Massachusetts. Zip 12344. Okay, and I am going to press continue, and we should be redirected to the payment page, as you can see here. And we're gonna, oh, actually, you know what? Oh, I totally forgot. Okay, so we do get this warning saying that we don't have that inside the routes. So let's go ahead and do that right now. Okay, so let's go to, actually we got to create our component first. So let's go ahead and create our payment component. Do payment.js. Yeah, payment.js. And we'll do a simple, just set up the basic skeleton structure for our payment. I'm just gonna copy this here and do a lot of deleting here because we don't need any of it. All right, so we'll just delete that. Let's see, we'll delete all this here. We'll delete all this here. Just import the React for now. And for this, we'll do, let's see here. Actually, you know what? What we're gonna do is, let me go back to the shipping page. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna copy this component here, or the breadcrumbs, into the payment component. So I'm going to go back to shipping component. And let's see, we'll go down here and we'll just copy this piece here, which also includes the progress bar that we want, and add that here into the payments. Save that. And also, because we are on the next step, right? We're going to be in the next step, or step number 2. Shipping is 1, payment is 2, place order is 3. So that now that we're going to be in payment, that's going to be step 2. So we're going to go ahead here to the progress bar component and add step 2. Go ahead and save that. And then we actually have to import this payment component into our the routing system, right? So our app component. So here, we'll go ahead and we'll copy this import for the shipping, paste below, and change this to payment. All right, and then we'll find shipping here, copy, paste below, swap that with the payment. All right, so now payment should be added into our routing system. What am I getting? I get a little error here. Let's see, progress bar is not defined. Okay, into payment. Yes, I forgot it. Bring that in. Okay, so we're gonna go ahead and import that. Import progress bar. There you go. All right, if we save that, the error should go away, and it does. All right, so let's go ahead and go back here and let's see. Did it end up saving? Okay, it did end up saving shipping, but we're gonna start this over. So I'm gonna remove this from the local storage, the Redux. Okay, so let's try this again. Bring this down. Let's go ahead and fill out the info. Main Street 323. Gonna do Fresno, California. Do 44556. And then if we press continue, we should be redirected now to the payment. And we are here, you see? And we get our little breadcrumb. But let me see, let me make it more clear that we are here. I'm just gonna put a little message and say, inside, oh, no, wrong one. Not the shipping component. I wanna do that inside the payment. Oh, no wonder. That's why I didn't I didn't swap out the name. So I need to change this to payment. Payment. And then right here, I'm just gonna put a little dummy message just to say that inside payment component. All right, so we're inside the payment component. Good. All right, and let's also check inside the Redux store to see if we get the data that we were expecting there. Okay, and indeed we do. So you see here we have an order. Oh, no, but the shipping is empty. Let's see, what did I miss out? Okay, let's see here. The order constant, save shipping address, the reducer, action payload. Reducer, store. Oh, wait, hold on. Did I? No. Order action. Dispatch. Okay. What am I doing wrong here? All right. So we're calling dispatch. Here, let me let's go to the documentation here. Let's do use dispatch React router DOM. Let's see. Use dispatch. Use dispatch. All right, so here's an example. All right, so we import to use dispatch. We initialize it and store it in a variable, and then where is it being called from? Okay, here. So it calls it dispatch. Okay. So save shipping address. Should be it. Okay. Payload. Maybe it was something in the reducer here. Return state, shipping address, action payload. Okay. What? Let's go back here to the shipping. All right, you know what? Let's refresh this again. I think yeah, let's refresh this again. Let's try this again. So I'm gonna do 2223 Main Street. Let me just continue here. Press continue and see if that saves that. Okay, so we got orders. Okay, there we go. Okay, cool. All right, so it was, I don't know, it was a little weird thing. I just had to refresh the page, but we did see for that one field, it did save it in locals into our Redux. All right, so that's working. All right, great. So, but let's double check that. I'm gonna refresh this again. Refresh. Okay, let's fill this out. 1, 2, 3. But this time we're gonna fill out everything, right? 1, 1, 2, and then Boston. Or let's do Denver, Colorado, then 33445. All right, so make sure, oh, actually before we press continue, let's go ahead and remove this here from previous. All right, and then in the Redux store, we see that the shipping address is currently empty. All right, you see it's empty right now, but that's going to change once we press continue. So I'm going to click continue. We're redirected. You see inside payment component, and then the breadcrumb is also showing the payment is highlighted. But now let's check that the data was added. So if we go to Redux first to start off with, we see here. All right, so for the shipping address, we have all the data here. All right, so that checks off. And then for the local storage, you see here we get our data as well. Awesome. All right, so now we're at the final stretch of this lesson, and let's go ahead and make sure. Yep. All right, so we took. All right, so the final step is to reload the data into the shipping component. All right, so what that means is we are currently in the payment, right? We redirected to the next step, which is the payment component. But if the user decides, hey, I want to change something in shipping or into for shipping, they could click here back to shipping, and as you can see, currently these fields are empty, right? But you would expect that the information they added earlier would still be here. So that's what we're going to take care of. Okay, let me collapse this for now. All right, so on here. All right, so the way we're going to do that is we already tested to make sure that the data was in Redux store. So we know that the data is in the Redux store. So we can make use of that here. We can just pull the data once the user gets back here and just fill it, repopulate it. And the way we're going to do that is we're going to make use of useEffect, all right, which automatically runs the moment the component it's the first thing that is executed when the component is mounted, right? So we are going to add that right over here. Oh, but before we make use of it, we're gonna have to import that. So we're gonna let's see, React router DOM, right over here, use effect. Okay, now we can use it. We call use effect. And then this takes two arguments. First is the function, what we want to execute, and then the other one is the dependencies. Okay, and then let's see. Shipping address, let me see here. Okay, shipping. Okay, so we have this, but also we need to go ahead and grab, we're gonna have to make use of useSelector and grab the data from the Redux store. So we're gonna go here and do useSelector. And then call it here useSelector, do state, then state dot order. All right, now when I say it, now this order is referring to, if we go to the Redux store and we created our, we added our reducer here, you see, we assigned the order reducer to this item called order. So that's where this thing right here is coming from, okay? All right, so what do we want to grab from that order, from the order reducers? We want to grab let me show you here. This is the order reducers. We have one property. We want to grab this object here, shipping address. So we're going to destructure shipping address. Save. Okay, so now we should have, this should grab the data from the Redux store. And then here, going back to useEffect, we're going to check if shipping address dot address, which is this property here, that should have been stored in the Redux store if the user clicked submit or continue. If there's data there, then we're going to set address. We're going to make use of this method here. We're going to set address, set the value for that to be the data from the Redux store. We'll paste that there. Otherwise, if that Redux store field is empty, then we're just going to say set address and make it empty. Keep it empty. All right, so this is from this point on, it's essentially just doing the same thing with all the remaining 4 fields here. So we can go ahead and copy 4 more times, and we'll just change some of these fields. So the next one is going to be for this one's address 2, and set address 2, address 2. Okay. Let me create some separation here so it can give some space and you guys can understand a little better. All right, so we took care of address 2 now. So the next step is we have city. So I'm gonna go ahead and copy this set city. All right, so go in here, shipping address, and this one's city. If there's a value in the Redux store for the city, we're gonna set the city to be that city. Otherwise, we're gonna set city to be empty. All right, next is the state. So I'm gonna copy this here. State, set state. All right, and the final one is set zip. Zip. All right, go ahead and save that, and let's see what we get. Oh yeah, and also for the dependency here, we have to add our shipping address. So copy and add that right here. Okay, so let me remove those spaces now that we took care of that. So we save that, and all right, so everything looks good. So let's go ahead and test that now. All right, let's open up the DevTools and delete the shipping address. Go to the Redux store and go to the Redux store. And verify the shipping address is empty. As you can see here, it's just an object. All right, so let's go ahead and test this. So we're gonna do 456 Main Street. We do 567 for the apartment, and then for the city, we'll do San Francisco, and that's in California, 88997. And if we press continue, we should be redirected. Okay, inside payment component, and again, let's verify the data is there in the Redux store. To start off with, you see we get our data. Go to the local storage, you see we get our data. All right, and then finally, the last test is to if we as a user decide we want to change information to shipping. I click on the shipping in the breadcrumb to go back, and you see we go back, but at the same time you see that all these values are pre-filled. You see, everything's pre-filled. And the reason that's being pre-filled is because we're grabbing that information from the Redux store. Okay, this is global state data. Okay, so there you have it. So that's that. So that takes care of that. So now we're in the payment page, and we can continue on in the next video.